We get a whole hour to talk about angels, which I could probably do for like 10 hours, but I'm Sally Ann. And I am a clairvoyant, a Reiki master, so I work with energy. Yes, I'm a psychic medium, but I like to call myself clairvoyant because, I don't know, psychic, I was brought up in like the 70s where like 1-800-psychic, and it was all kind of like creepy, and it's definitely woo-woo, right? It is what it is. It is talking to angels and spirit and hopefully feeling all the good things that are happening. It is definitely an intention. My intention is always through like love and light and happiness. And even people that come to me, the funny thing is that I always say, if you want something dramatic, like someone that says, in a fiery crash, I'm not your girl. Like, I'm just not that dramatic. I also don't think it's like the way that I learn or the way I listen to messages, if it's through fright or, it needs to be through like this calm, loving space. So this way, then we can also figure it out, right? It's easier to accept things that are calm and loving than like catastrophic. So, there's a couple of things. I didn't know if you wanted to take notes. So I'm going to hand these cards out to you gals. And on the front is really just all the workshops that we're doing. It's kind of the start of the season for Holland Center. So I am here once a month with something. You're welcome. There's always something we do. So once a month I'm here. Sometimes it's conversations like this. Sometimes it is Reiki healing, or it's manifestation boards, so you can get what you desire. There's gratitude we talk about. I'm kind of a gratitude expert, and I have a gratitude book, if that's something you guys are really interested in. So also, you'll see that there's some information on here for like Anthem, because the Reiki group healing, I've had a number of people that have attended the one here ask for more. So in Anthem at the Civic Building, we're doing that every month, and then also there's one up in Anthem. It's at the FX kickboxing gym, right? So I go in, I clear all the space, and then you get all these fabulous mats. The whole room is mats, so it's so comfortable to lay on. So that works out really well. So here's some note space for you guys. What I hope we will achieve today is that you guys will go home feeling like you've learned something, that you've got answers for some of the questions that you have in life, and maybe some new direction. I thought I'll talk about my little story about how I got here. And then I kind of want to answer any of your questions. I did a summer series here, and we talked about angels, and I was very surprised on the number of questions that people had about them that I was able to answer for them. So I want to give you guys that space to ask those questions, and then I'm sure I'll have an antidote or something funny that happened when I'm answering those questions. So I have been doing Heaven's Light Wellness for 8 years now, but I have had the gift for over 40. So when I was in my 20s, I had like the awakening, which seems to be pretty consistent with other people, like Von Prague. Do you know him? He's got like these beautiful blue eyes. My Fifth Sense was written about his life. He had his awakening about 20. I hear of other people, and that's when they have their awakening, if you will. So it's kind of like when the gift makes itself more aware for yourself. Now, I was brought up Roman Catholic. New York City, fire, brimstone, the works, right? Ironically, 3 years ago, I got fired from the Catholic Church. So I'm like, okay, we don't always have to be aligned. I do not call myself Roman Catholic. I am spiritual. I have a very specific, or not, maybe it's not very specific, but a belief in a higher power and the gift that I get. The reason I got fired is because I am doing this. And I guess it's against doctrine law. I was like, okay, well, God's my buddy. I really believe this is a gift. What happened to me is about 8.5 years ago. I'm a corporate girl. I worked in the corporate world. I worked in New York City, large advertising business. Came here, started a couple of community theaters, and did huge programs for Pepsi, and actually wound up running the outlet mall for almost 10 years. So I'm a very corporate, like a linear thinker. But I've had this gift since I was in college. And I'll tell you the end first and then go back to the front. So about 8 years ago, I know I wasn't as satisfied. I felt like, there's something else out there. And I really prided myself on the events. We did huge events, like Patty said, like 15,000 people. We used to get like $9 million in free press a season. It was amazing and wonderful, and I loved every minute of what I did. But things started, I was like, I felt a little discontented. And every time we did an event, I would go back and say, okay, well, how can we do this better next time? How can we fix this? How can we, or what were the issues? I remember one year we're doing tree lighting, and I don't hear anything on my radio. It's like been 2 hours. I hear nothing. I'm like, I need to check my radio. Because I thought, surely something's wrong. No, it had just been 5 years of learning that everybody didn't have any questions. We were just doing what we had to do. It was such a proud moment for me as like a marketer and an event planner. And so I'm having this little, like, I don't know if this is really what I want to do anymore. I feel like there's something else out there. Started feeling a little unsettled. And I remember I went to my executive vice president in California, and I called her up. And she used to call Anthem her happy place, because there were 13 other properties that weren't her happy place. And I said, Donna, I'm not so happy anymore. And she goes, what does that mean? And I said, I promised you 10 years ago I would do this job until I wasn't happy anymore. And I don't think I'm fulfilled. So I think we need to figure out a way. I need an exit strategy. I have a great staff. We have things in place. But I know there's a shift happening. So really, within 2 weeks, believe it or not, things really shifted. And they were like, by the way, they called me up and they're like, we don't need you anymore. And I looked at my general manager and I started to laugh. And she was like, do you need a hug? I'm like, no, I kind of think this is hysterical. Like, I know, like it's time for me to go. Like, I get that. And I really was like ready to go. So, crazily, I was looking for another corporate job. I thought something else would fulfill me. And I couldn't get a job. I thought I would have a job before I walked out the door. Like, I was the most employable director of marketing and events this state has ever seen. And people told me that. It wasn't just me. I thought, I'll have a job in 20 minutes, not a big deal. Well, a month later, I still don't have a job. And I'm like, I don't understand. And my girlfriend, I'm doing Reiki on my girlfriend's foot. Susan. It wasn't Susan, but I'm doing Reiki on my girlfriend's foot. And she says, okay, what's going on? I was like, I don't understand what's happening. And I start listing the jobs. I'm like, how do you know the mayor of Peoria and not be able to get an interview for their marketing position? How do you know the vice president of Clear Channel and not be able to get an interview for their promotions department? There's all these weird little nuances. So as I'm thinking, I'm like counting my fingers, and I was like, they start laughing. She goes, what's so funny? I'm like, 13 jobs that people called me for that didn't come through. 13 is my number. I actually have a tattoo of 13 on my side. I was married on a 13, was not supposed to get married in June, got married June 13th. My son was born on October 13th, 2 weeks early. My daughter was born September 13th, 4 days late. I'm like, okay, 13's our number. Yeah, so I did some other work, and 13 lives ago was a pivotal time for this soul. And so this is a pivotal life for me. So 13 is a very powerful number in my life, right? It's not bad luck, it's really good luck for me. So I was sitting with my girlfriend, realized 13 things, and I said, okay, it's 13, now what am I supposed to do? And she goes, exactly what you're doing. And I'm like, what? Like I'm working on it. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, this is what you need to do. She goes, by the way, Friday, come over. I'm having people over for you, and we're going to launch your business. And she helped me launch my business. She is a very famous photographer. I remember I did something on Facebook, and she called me up. She's like, Sally Ann. I'm like, yes, Michelle. And she's like, come tomorrow with makeup. We're working on your brand. I'm like, what does that mean? She goes, new headshots, girl. You cannot put this on Facebook. At the time, Facebook was the thing. Right? I was like, okay. So I've had all these wonderful people come into my life to really help me develop what I get to do, right? To be brave enough to say, this is what I do. I see angels. I talk to angels, and it is what it is. And, you know, I believe I'm a good person. And trust me, there are people that have come up to me and said, oh, you scare the shit out of me. I'm like, I get that. I get it. You know, they're like, how do you know that? I'm like, well, it's not really me, right? It's more about like what spirit does. When I do readings, and I don't live in this space. So when I do readings, I key into your guardian angels and then tell you what I see, feel, hear, and I communicate it to you. Usually I see like a movie in my head, and then I describe the movie. Sometimes I pull in my own personal things, so this way it makes it more tangible for you guys. Or I can make sure I'm giving you the message that you need. So how did all this start? So I'm 20 years old. I'm in college, loving life, love college. And it really felt like most of my life, I just opened those doors. They showed up, and I was like, woo, what's behind that one? Let's go. Really didn't have a lot of fear in my life. And I'm a New Yorker, but I was here, moved to Scottsdale. My parents moved me to Scottsdale when I was 15 years old. From New York to Scottsdale. I'm like, where am I? So made it through Chaparral with like, I don't understand. I went to Catholic school. So here I am in high school, and I'm like, this is easy. Like, this is easy. Again, had these beautiful mentors in my life. I remember I had this one English teacher, and he's like, yeah, you need to go to college. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to college when I graduate. He goes, no, you need to college now. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So he told me about Scottsdale Community College and how you can go to community college when you're in high school. Who knew? I didn't know that. So I went to NAU as a sophomore, and it was great because I got to really experiment and do a lot of things. I think I wound up with like 2 majors and 2 minors, and it was great fun. I learned a ton. So I am in college, loving life, and I was out with my girls. We went to this pizza place on campus, and you ordered on top, and you walked down 3 stairs, and all the chairs and stuff were down there. So I was standing at the stairs, looking at my girls, about to walk down, and I see a man all the way in the corner. And he's standing in a very, I'm going to call it a strange position, right? Not like, he was like leaning and not in a position I would stand comfortably in. And I was like, huh, and I felt dread and sadness and despondency. And I thought, what the heck is that? I don't feel that way. I love my life. I love what I'm doing. I'm right where I need to be. I didn't understand that. And then I realized I was standing in the same position he was. You can imagine that freaked me out. I'm like, what's happening to me? So I said to my girls, gotta go, and took off to the dorms to call my mother. Pre-cell phones, right? I'm 60. We didn't have cell phones back then. Went back to the dorm, called my mom, and my mother and I are very close, but she is a Brooklyn Italian. I almost said Guinea, but only Italians can call somebody else a Guinea, right? So I'm like, you have to come pick me up. You have to come pick me up right now. Get in the car. Come get me. I'm having a nervous breakdown. I don't know what's going on. I was like, whoo, really uncomfortable. So she's like, calm down. What's going on? So I told her. And as only your mother could say, she's like, you're fine. And I'm like, no, I am not fine. She's, you're fine. You're fine. I'm like, well, what's happening? She goes, babe, you're just psychic. And I thought, what does that mean? Like, never a word used in my house. Didn't understand what that meant. Now, did my grandmother, who lived next door, used to come over and say, Sally, I had this dream, and tomorrow this is going to happen. And don't do A, you got to do B. I go, okay, Grandma. Tomorrow comes, just like she says happens, and yeah, I do A instead of B, and I come home and I'm like, guess what? Exactly what you said happened, but I kind of did the wrong thing. And yeah, she smacks me on the top of the head and says, don't do it again. I'm like, okay. 2 weeks later, she calls me up, okay, Sally Ann, I had a dream. This is going to happen. I'm like, okay. I started to listen, right? And I think I started to listen to myself because I had permission to do that. Do you guys remember the Good Humor Man? You guys used to have like the ice cream man that used to come in your neighborhood? So Good Humor Man used to come. And so I have two brothers. And he would come and we'd be like, Dad, Good Humor Man's here. And he'd give us money and we'd run out to the truck and we'd always get something different. It wasn't like we got the same thing. And it's like we always had the right amount of money. We always got change back and we'd give the change to my dad. I'm like, how do you know how much money to give us? You know, if it was $3, $5, whatever it was. He always just kind of knew. And my mother, caller ID was created because of her. She, you know, the big black phones, that phone would ring and she'd pick it up and she'd be like, hey, Sabina, my aunt. I'm like, how did you know Aunt B is calling? I don't know, I just knew. She'd pick up the phone and she knew it was my dad. How do you know Dad was calling? And she's like, I don't know, I just know. So that was my everyday life. Okay, yeah, I was surrounded by psychics. Who knew? I didn't know, right? That's all I understood. No, I mean, doesn't everyone's grandma tell you what's going to happen? I don't know. I just kind of thought I did. It was my life. I didn't understand that that was a gift or something special, which is probably why we're all supposed to leave the house at one point to understand the good life that we have. So, really, to my mother's credit, I think this happened in like April, in June, because I went back and looked at my certificate. She got us all into training. We studied the Silva technique. At that time, Jose Silva was alive. He was 70 years old in Texas. And the guy that did our group taught us how to see our guardian angels, how to, you know, like I can talk to trees and dogs and understand things in engines. And, you know, back then I was just like, oh, this is kind of interesting, kind of fun. It totally is like quantum physics and touching base with yourself and more importantly, going into theta. What I do when I do this is I change my brainwaves. And we can all do that. Matter of fact, you guys already do it. Every night before you go to sleep, right before you fall asleep, your brainwave goes to theta. Right now, God bless you. Right now, we're up and we're running around and we're in alpha. Right, our brainwave patterns say alpha. We're fully awake, we're doing our thing, we're thinking. Right before we go to sleep and right before we wake up, we go to theta. The brainwave change. And then when we're asleep, we're in beta. Okay? So, how many times have you guys woken up and said, I have the best idea? Okay, I'll remember and I go back to sleep, right? But you didn't write it down, you wake up and you're like, dang it, I forgot the idea. You were in theta, okay? Theta is where you get to talk to your higher power, talk to spirit around you, feel differences. And it happens throughout the day. I call them angel whispers. Do you ever get like, well, the world likes to call it a gut feeling, right? Because that's safe. But if the world went around saying, oh, you got an angel whisper, are you going to listen? No, I'm not going to do that. But, oh, I had this gut feeling. Oh, tell me about your gut feeling. That's okay. So I'm going to say the ironic thing about gut feeling is, well, have you heard like your gut is your second brain? That's a big thing that's been going around, right? Thanks. So I'm a Reiki master as well. So I've been working with energy for over 40 years. So there's 7 main chakras of your system. And solar plexus is number 3. It's about here, about 4 inches above your belly button. And that controls how you trust yourself. Do I listen to myself? This is actually solar plexus, I think, is the hardest thing for any female and some males. But this is all about how I love myself, how I trust myself, what I believe in myself. Do I gaslight myself, right? So it's all about solar plexus, how I trust myself. And so third eye is here, and that's where you talk to your angels. It's your connection to spirit. So my kids laugh all the time because I'll be like, oh, well, you have a gut feeling? And I'm always touching both. And they're like, for the longest time, they're like, why do you touch both? And I'm like, you hear it, you believe it. Do you hear it and believe it, or do you hear it and you push it away? And that's the difference between trusting yourself, knowing that you're surrounded by spirit and angels and all good things, and you hear it. I know you guys do. I know it's happened to you, and you've said, no, it couldn't be, right? Like we mark it off. It couldn't be. I want you to really try this week. When you hear it, I want you to try and say, was that my thought? Was it something else? What would happen if I agreed with it, or if I moved to that space? Because I will tell you, even through training, that was my hardest thing, was I only heard my own voice. It's the voice I knew, right? The spirit's talking to me, but I hear my own voice. And I'm like, well, how could it be if it's my voice? It's the most comfortable thing for me to hear, right? And so my big breakthrough was, that wasn't my thought. I know I didn't think that. I know I don't know that information. And when that happened, it kind of like brought a lot of things open for me. And it was before I knew what chakra was and knew what, if I was believing myself or not. So really for the next week or two, I want you just to check in with yourself. If you have like this gut feeling, I want you to say, is this something I should go forward with? Is this something I can believe that could happen? Right? Because this saves everything. This is your angel whispers. These are the things that get you going or not where you need to go. So I call these opportunities in life these doors. These doors show up. And I'm going to tell you, they're going to show up all the time, right? They're opportunities in life. So if an opportunity shows up or a lesson, right? Lessons are also opportunities to learn in my world. If this lesson shows up and you're like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to walk around this door. It's just a door, right? And you keep walking around it. And then 10 years later, you're like, why do I always pick the wrong guy? Why do my friends always take advantage of me? Why can't I keep a job that makes me happy? It's that same door. It's going to keep showing up. So you say, okay, I'm going to walk through this door. It's uncomfortable, but I'm going to learn this lesson. And really, the lessons that you learn, the door on the other side of the door, it's always happy. It's always better than you can even imagine. Because how I believe it is we're supposed to learn here. We're here to learn. This is our space to learn. You want to get really religious about it? I'm like, this is purgatory, right? That's not how I was taught. I was taught you die, you go to purgatory, and then you decide if you go to heaven or hell. This is purgatory. This is our place to learn. Do I have it? Am I understanding what I'm supposed to learn? And then when you transition, you go up or down. But most of us go up, right? So learn your lessons here so this way your life can be great, can be good. Doesn't mean it has to be easy. Sometimes you're like, ooh, that's a lesson that makes me really uncomfortable. But once you've recognized it and been through it, then you're like, wow, that's great. I'm a new person. I'm a different person. It's so funny. My husband has a friend, and he says to his wife, and it's like 20 years, like they've been married. Well, they've been married like 40 years now. But I remember I met him when he was like, they're married 20 years. I don't know, he did something. And he looks at his wife and he goes, you knew I was an asshole when you married me. And I was like, I didn't like that answer. And I was like, shame on you. You're telling me in 20 years you haven't grown at all? Pick a reason, grow, right? Like walk through the door, grow, be a better person. If that's what you need to be, especially if that's what your partner needs, right? So there's all these beautiful ways that spirit shows up in our life, angels show up in our life. I am very blessed. I get to see mine. His name's George. He's my main angel. I have like 5. Most of us have 3. You're born with 3 guardians, okay? These are not people you know here. These are people that you made deals in heaven with to come and be with you. George is ancient. I don't even really know his real name because 40 years ago, I couldn't even fathom what his real name is. So he lets me call him George. And he's very old. He's very ancient. I'm very old and ancient too. My first life, I was a shaman because I was in all white, and it was during the Hun Wars, because I know I was on a mountain on a horse, on this very specific type of horse, and this enemy, if you will, came over, grabbed me by the face, and threw me off a cliff. And that was like how I passed the first time. I will tell you that for years and years and years, if anybody went to touch my face, I would freak out. It was it didn't matter. Don't touch my face. It was like one of those things. And I would say it's probably from past life. And then I had this wonderful session with someone who's passed on, and he told me that life, and I was like, oh, got it. So now you can touch my face. I won't freak out, right? Because I understand what the lesson was. I understand why it still sits with me. So a lot of the things that we learn in past lives, we either take with us or we learn from it. I had a client come in, and actually she called me and she's like, can you talk to my daughter? I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Okay, my daughter went to a psychic down in wherever. They were out with the girls, and all the girls had really good readings. And then this psychic told my daughter, you're very unlucky in love. You'll never get married. Imagine saying that to a 23-year-old girl. So she was very distraught, like how she chose to date. Like she would go on dates and be like, don't get too attached because I'm unlucky in love. I'll never get married. So she started repeating that language. So she agreed to come with me. And I remember this because they told me. I don't remember what happens in readings because I'm in theta, right? It's the good stuff that you forget. And so I said, okay, well, what did she say? So she told me. And I was like, let's find out why. Why did she say this? Let's look into why she said this about you. And they brought me back. So a couple of lifetimes back for her, because I can go back in your lifetimes because it's still your spirit line, if that makes sense. So I was like, oh, are you very good friends with your mother? She's like, yeah, we're best friends. I said, oh, there were like 3 like aha moments for me. I was like, can you confirm this for me, this for me, this for me? Yes to all of them. I said, all right, I get why she said that. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be that way in this life. She's like, okay, what do you say? I said, so I think it was like 8 lifetimes ago. I said, 8 lifetimes ago, your mother was your sister. Because I had asked, do you feel like your sisters? Absolutely. They look alike, they look like sisters, even though there's, a 30-year gap. So you and your sister, you lived with your sister and her husband, and she had children. And it was on a farm, and I started describing what this place looked like. And she's like, oh, we lived in, I don't remember, Ohio, Idaho, someplace like that. And it was very reminiscent of that lifetime as well. And I said, your sister died, and you had to marry your brother-in-law because you needed to take care of their children. And I'm getting goosebumps now. Goosebumps is truth because you can't give yourself goosebumps. So it's one of my indicators. So she was like, okay, I get it. That makes sense to me. And so then we talked a little more, and then she understood it was like from a past life. So that's why that clairvoyant, that psychic picked up on it. Made sense to me. As soon as I heard it, I was like, okay, where? And I'm like, wait, not this life. Okay, where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, now that you're aware of it, we can give grace to it, we can recognize it, but we don't have to own it in this life, right? It's like, okay, that's what did happen. You've learned. Now can we have a different life here? So I don't think she's married yet, but she's dating happily, which is a good thing, right? Part of also empowering ourselves to live the life we want. Say, what kind of life do I want here? Because empowering ourselves, and sometimes I really do believe that a guardian angel reading or an angel reading, I've had lots of people say, I knew that, but I needed confirmation. I'm like, okay, if that's what you needed from this one, that's exactly why I'm here. Or I feel stuck and I don't know where to go. Just remember, stuck is just you between two breaths, okay? Stuck is not a permanent place. It's just the moment that you're in now. So there are ways to get you through to the next breath, to the next chapter, to the next phase. So, and a lot of that comes from angel whispers or communication with them. So, do you guys have any questions, like as of right now? Yes.
How do you define an angel?
So, I define an angel by how I feel spirit. So, a guardian angel to me is one of the three that you're typically born with. Typically, there's three. And I'll see one behind you. Usually I see one really powerful one, like directly behind, which it's a great space, right? Because when you need encouragement, when you need to fall back, there's this beautiful, powerful angel behind you for protection. And then typically there's one on the right and one on the left. Sometimes there's some at your feet, or there might be additional ones, but typically it's one on the right, one on the left. And it's interesting because when I see those, especially for people I don't know, I can start describing that guardian. And typically it's your attributes. Like you pick up the attributes of these guardians for you. And so this way, because they understand it, they can help you through life that way. Sometimes if they're at feet, it's usually babies or smaller children. They're either waiting to come in or have chosen not to come in for a reason, but they're still attached to you. Yes. So that's how they look like something recognizable is what I'm going to say. Now, can I draw them? Not all the time. Sometimes I'll see, or even when people have passed, when they've transitioned, they're angels, right? They're not your guardian angels. So there's like two categories of angel, if you will. Your guardians are the ones that you don't know in this lifetime, that typically they've been with you a couple of lives, and they come in with you to protect you and help you go through life. Then there's other angels of people that have passed that you know. Like my grandfather showed up. The day he died, I'm like, oh, Pop, okay. Both my grandfathers show up. So they're angels too, because they've transitioned and gone to heaven and are not stuck here. And so sometimes I'll be like, oh, I see someone that has like lots of teeth. Oh, did he smile a lot? So I might not be able to say he had blue eyes or green eyes, but I can feel the energy that's there and what it projects. What does it feel like? A couple of Christmases ago, I was very sick, but I needed to go to Mass. I was like, I need to go to Christmas Eve Mass. Not something typically that we did. I was like, I got to go. And I remember I was like hobbling in, and we got there early because there's so many people there. And I was at the, just open the doors. My family's helping me, and I look up and I go, oh, there's no seats. And my kids, everybody was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, new eyes, okay. Because all I saw was spirit. There was lots of angels in the space. So I was like, oh, okay, wait. Oh, there's plenty of room. Okay, I have to readjust. Because sometimes when I go to Theta, it's usually very purposeful, but sometimes it just floats in. Like people will be there's people in this room right now that are angels because they're attracted to you guys. They're attracted to me. They come to the space. There are also angels that are earthbound. And it's funny because it's not funny, but ironically we do, I'm not sure if we're doing, connection across lifetimes is one of the lectures that we do. And it's not only about talking about past lives, but I really want to encourage anyone that if you have someone in your life that is transitioning, encourage them to take the angel's hands. And tell them, I got this. You don't have to worry about us. Give them permission to go. Because as humans, we love you. We don't want to leave you. We want to still take care of you. Even if we're in a bed and 150 pounds and we can't lift our heads, right? We still want to stay and give you love and attention and feed your soul, if you will, right? So when you say it's okay to go, they will take the hands of the angels that are there. There's always angels by the bedside. And for a long time I couldn't go into a hospital because all of spirit would, I could hear them, like walking through an airport or going through a hospital. I can hear them all. But I started going back to a hospital because I realized I can see the angels with people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, good. They can go in peace. So if that person transitioning is earthbound and decides to hold the hands of the angels that are going, they get to go right up to heaven. And the best part is, once you transition and go to heaven and get your wings, if you will, you could be anywhere. All of a sudden, there's no time and space. There's no constraints, human constraints. So they can be with all of their grandchildren and their loved ones and be all over the place almost instantaneously, right? Because time and space is a human constraint. So if they don't, they get stuck here. And so it's funny, a woman just asked before class started, do you clear houses? I'm like, yep, all the time, all day long. You should see what's going on in Fountain Hills, you guys. It's crazy. But it's all the things that are stuck here, or the people that are stuck here, because they're here to help you. I had a gentleman once who was late 70s, early 80s. His wife had passed away like 20 years ago. And I remember I said, oh, you don't dream of her. You don't feel her and you don't dream of her, and neither do your boys. And he's like, that's right. None of us have seen it. I said, that's because she's standing next to you. And she hasn't crossed over. She chose not to cross over. She chose to stay with you. So I said, do you give me permission to help her go? Right? Help her, bring her to heaven. Archangel Michael shows up for me. I'm very honored and blessed that he does. And so we helped her go. I think her name was Maria. And I said, okay, let me know. I'm going to tell you, you're going to feel her, you're going to see her, you're going to dream of her. Tell your boys. And 2 days later, he called me up. He's like, you were right. We all dreamt of her for the first time in 20 years. We all got to see her. We all got to talk to her. Because humans don't understand that different vibration here, right? It's much easier to see that theta vibration than it is to feel this vibration. So, interesting thing about vibration down here. I'll make it kind of quick, I think. So, I'll try. About 8 to 10 years ago, and I am not an expert on this, but there's a lot of information, I guess, out there. I'm not sure if it's called the Age of Aquarius, but 8 years ago, yeah, it's about 8 years ago, maybe 8.5. the earth has changed its vibration. And with that vibration change, we all feel it, but we don't realize we feel it. And so what happens when something big comes really fast and you don't know what's going on? We get a little frightened. We may change our behavior, right? We go into fight or flight. And when you have fight or flight, you get to run, hide, or flee. Those are the things humans do when we're in fight or flight. So with this vibration change, I call it, a lot of us have gone into the mud, right? We're hiding. We're staying where we need to go. And so other of us who really have this higher vibration, people are like, come down here. You have to hide, right? You have to hide and get away from whatever this weirdness is, because I don't understand what the weirdness is. They really have your best intention at heart, even though they're trying to pull you into the mud because they're trying to keep you safe. But that's just their fear talking. The good thing, I mean, right? The world is not a happy place right now. There's a lot of opportunity for more growth, more happiness, more joy. And I don't know if you guys remember 10 years ago, but 10 years ago it wasn't like that. 10 years ago, my neighbor knew my kids, watched my kids, helped them cross the street, right? Now, would your neighbor do that? Your new neighbor? Maybe not. But it's because of fear, not because they don't like you, right? It's a different world. What I will tell you is, after 10 years, things are going to shift. I do believe there's going to be a big shift, probably next April, is what I keep seeing, where people will become kinder. The world will become kinder and nicer and happier. You know, and I pray that what I see is what happens every day. I have seen catastrophes. I did see COVID coming in. I didn't know it was called COVID back then, but I saw this cloud from Europe come and sweep over and slow down and all the things that it later did. There are other people that are much more specific than I am about that stuff, but know that you have the power to decide if you're going to play in the mud or not. You have the power to say, I think I'm lighter. I think I'm a happier person than this. I think I'm going to bring joy to my community, even if it's 4 people, right? Your community could just be your household. Your community could be all of the Holland Center. Your community could be where you work. So with that choice, right, because empowering ourselves is a choice, you can make catastrophic differences in a really good way. But it's knowing that you can do it. It's knowing that you have permission to do it. It's understanding that this vibration, everybody getting in the mud, is just safe. It's just their fight or flight. Right? Because not all of us want to fight. We don't want to get up and fight. We want to live this beautiful existence and continue to do that. So I want to give you that power to understand that you can do that. But a couple of years ago I used to say it, and then recently I said, yeah, I just don't want to play. I don't want to play in the sandbox anymore. I don't want to play in the mud. I need to make a new space for myself. So make a new space for yourself, guys. Say, I don't want to follow this because this doesn't feel good to me. I want to follow my new heart-centered thing that makes me feel good. Those are angel whispers, right? The biggest thing that God, source, universe gives us is free will. You all have it. I'm telling you have it. But no one has said, you have free will, you have free will, you have free will. No one tells us that. Everyone says, comply, get in order, get in line, do what you have to do, right? Look, you still have to do what you have to do. You still have to make money, you still have to eat, you still, whatever, right? But you have a choice on how you do that. You have a choice on who to love. You have a choice to love yourself. You have a choice to come today, and you did. Right? These are the choices that you have in your life. So you have the power. Take the power. It's not being selfish. It's not a negative thing. Empowering yourself to see what you need to live your truth. That's why your guardian angels are here. they're trying to help you go through that. They're trying to open the doors for you to say, oh, this is what I need to do. This is what I feel I need to do, right? And I say that to my kids. I'm like, was that what you feel like you need to do? You know, I think sometimes they're like, just freaking tell me, Mom. Right? And sometimes they're like, I'm not listening to you. And I'm like, do you know what I do for a living? Right? So, but they have to make their own choices. And that's the other thing is, if you can support people in your life and say, okay, if that's the right choice for you, go for it, right? Just may not be the right choice for me. And that's okay. That's where that love and acceptance comes in. That's where you make the world a better place instead of saying, this is what I believe and I don't like it if you don't believe it. Is that really what you want to say? No, go live your life. Go be beautiful. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt other people. I don't appreciate that. But you get to believe what you want to believe, what works for you, how that feels good in your side, inside your body. And the same for you. That's what you get to do too. Like really, it really turns into this beautiful balance. It's not like the seesaw ride. Like get your balance, ground yourself, right? If you're feeling all woo-woo-y, dig your toes in the sand, walk around concrete barefooted. Say, I'm going to ground myself. I want to feel this. I want to be present, right? Like you get to do that. And if you have to do it every day, then do it every day until you don't feel like you have to do it anymore. Walk in the grass. They always say like walking in the dew and the grass is a really good conductor to ground yourself. It can be anything. Literally, I'm going to tell you, I own 110 pairs of shoes and 2 pairs of flip-flops. I don't wear flip-flops. I am barefoot 98% of the time. You'll see when you come to me, if I'm in a session, right? First thing I do is take off my shoes. I want to ground myself. Like I know that's where I need to be. So I have shoes on today, though, guys. It's a public space. But that's what I prefer. I prefer it because I feel the difference in myself. Yeah. Any other angel questions? Or any questions? Doesn't matter. I'm here. Anything else popping up? Yes.
So are we gonna work individually with you for tonight, or is that?
So not tonight, actually. I think I should probably do something like that and just have it open because so I do classes like that, or people will call me into events like birthday parties and I'll do like open readings, but I really need people's permission to do that, right? Because okay. Well, I can definitely key into what's happening here and I can talk about what's happening here for sure. I don't know if it'll be specifically about you. So when I do larger groups, I can't guarantee that the person steps in is just for one individual person in general. But yeah, I mean, the room is filled. There's plenty of people here. So I think we have like 10 more minutes. So I'm happy to I'm going to bring in the person that's next to me because he's next to me. Then he's kind of like following me. He's like glue onto me. So it does feel male, but like young male. So to me, young is like 17 to 24. Okay, he's like, yes. Do you know who it is?
No.
Okay. So 17 to 24, he feels taller than me, but I'm 5'3". And he's thin. Oh, I have total goosebumps. Okay, unfortunately, he's passed in not a calm way. I almost want to say it was self-inflicted. Yes, but accidental self-inflicted. Do you know anyone in this room that's male that maybe passed from like a fentanyl overdose or, yes? Was it male? Younger? Okay. I have goosebumps. Okay. So, okay. I will tell you that he's surprised. I think he was with other people when it happened. So he was kind of surprised. He just got too much of what was in that, like the wrong pill. You know what I mean? Like, when I guess they were kids used to do that. They'd put it all in a bucket and then you pick a pill and you didn't know if you got a birth control pill or a Tylenol or something bad. So he was with a group. I'm not saying it was that situation, but he was with more than one person. So he's very surprised by it. He had big plans though. Yes, big plans, like smart. I feel like this person had big plans.
I know him real well. My best friend's friends.
Oh, okay. I feel like he had plans. I will tell you, he's not in pain. He's disappointed he's there, but he also feel. I don't know if you guys can see the goosebumps on. Like you can't see my legs, but he's disappointed he's there, but he understood it was by his hand. He's just disappointed in himself because he knows. I'm telling you, this kid had plans. He's like, I got plans. That doesn't mean like necessarily college, but like plans, like own a business. Like he worked with his hands. I don't know if he was a welder or did something with his hands. So he had big plans on how his life was going to be. And I don't think it was like a normal thing for him. I don't think he did a lot of drugs. I think it was legit an accident kind of thing. But he's fine, is what I'm going to tell you, because he is wrapped in light and protected. Oh my gosh, you feel how cold my hands are right now. So he is. Both his parents are still alive, yes? Okay. So I will tell you, is his dad a mechanic or something? Does something with tools? There's a tool in this man's house? Okay. Oh, okay. So he's with his dad a lot. So he talks to his dad a lot. And he follows his mom around. Is she very busy? Looks like she's busy. She feels like, okay, well, I'm gonna fix this plant, and then I'm gonna go make dinner, and then I'm gonna make this plan. So he feels like I feel like he follows her around a lot. And that may just be because she's trying to be busy to not be, clearly because it's a painful thing. So I'm asking him, I'm like, why aren't you talking to mom at night? Why? He's like, she doesn't listen. She doesn't hear him. So, okay, but I don't know why she blames herself, because to me, this feels like clearly an accident, not something she did. So I don't know if she has guilt wrapped around this, like she could have done something different or better. It was really an accident. Really was not supposed to be. Was not supposed to be what it was supposed to happen. Okay? She needs to know that he's okay. That wasn't supposed to be. Don't worry, he's going to stay with her for a long time. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to haunt you forever. And he means it in a very loving way, like lots of energy. Does he have a brother? Who's having a baby?
My stepson.
Okay. All right, because he's going to be very present with the male who's having this baby. So that's kind of good. You got to love that. Like some extra love from above. So, and he's like, I promise I learned. Okay. No, he's really okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, yeah, because he was like, weren't right here. I'm like, okay, let's talk to you. So, do we have a grandmother that's close to passing, but not past all the, or a mother? Something about purple or blue. Whose mother or grandmother loves purple or blue? No? Because she feels like she's in a wheelchair? Or she doesn't walk, is what I want to say. No, huh? Colleen? Is this mom? Is purple and blue her color? Okay. I'm like, they were like, whoop, right to you. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Okay. So makes sense, close, but doesn't want to transition over. I love your mother, especially right now. She's cracking me up. So she's like, I know that goes in the corner. So I must have used it for the prop.
Do angels not, so several angels don't transition over?
Yeah, there are lots that don't transition over. So that's when I have to clear homes or spaces. I could clear, one time I cleared this house in Tucson. I swear to God, it was like 900 square foot. It took me 2 hours. I could do 5,000 square feet in 2 hours. There was so much spirit there. They were all hanging out on the porch. They all had different costumes on. I was like, because they were just all from different eras, right? A lot like in desert hills. When things are called Bloody Basin, because there was war there. One time I cleared a school. It was my children's school. It was fairly new, and I remember I went into the vice principal and I said, Mark, I know you probably can't tell me this, but is this a really rough school year? There are lots of fights happening, right? Where I don't think that like fifth graders should be fighting. And he's like, I can't really tell you that information. I'm like, I understand, but I'm going to tell you there's lots of fights happening in this school. And he just kind of looked at me and I was like, we have to clear the space. And they were putting up like this big canvas structure in the middle of the school, and they made a pentagon. And I remember I was walking through it. I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, okay, Mark, here's the thing. I'm going to get me and a couple of other people, and we're going to clear this school because this is not good. And it's funny because he shared with me, so I was explaining to him energy and how we're going to clear the school and do some other things. And I was like, am I freaking you out? And he's like, no, actually, his first wife was very ill. And they wound up having like a shaman who didn't speak English. And Mark walked in with his wife, and the shaman pointed to him and through an interpreter said, this man doesn't believe. And the guy said, you don't believe? And he goes, And the shaman said, go to the other room. And then you tell me, did I push or did I pull? And Mark's like, the heck does this mean, right? So he goes to the other room. He's like, did I push or did I pull? I don't know what that means. And he's staring there and he goes, he went flying up against the wall. He said he was shook. He walked into the room shaking. He's like, you pushed. Okay, you pushed. And I said, okay, now let's go. Right? Because they needed him to believe. It was his wife. He needed to believe. So Mark was part. I got 5 people total around. We all stood at the points of the pentagram. And my George went into the middle, and I saw him, and he was like pounding it like Hulk, right? But he's pounding this eggshell, and I'm seeing it crack, and it's cracking open, and then it's like a faucet was turned on, but upside down. And it was flowing. All this stuff was coming out of it. Wagon wheels and horses and, blonde humans and dark humans and Indians and all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, I'm watching it. And this beautiful chief, because of his headdress, I mean, all I saw was his head, and it was as big as me, taller than me. And he went in front of me. He stayed in front of me. I remember I looked at him and I said, is this okay? And he bowed to me. Like I saw his head move. And I was like, okay. And then it just kept flowing up, and it was like emptying a sink. You know, when the sink empties, how it just kind of all comes in. But I saw it for acres. Like I could see it in my mind, these acres all coming in and up to heaven. And so when they were all done, like it just like sealed itself, or we sealed it up. And Mark had asked me, can I be part of this? I said, yeah, sure. Why not? Like if the intention is there. And so he said, what was I supposed to see? I said, you weren't supposed to see anything. What did you see? Before I told him what I had seen. And he said, I saw sparks of light in a cylinder going up, and it didn't stop until you told us all. And I was like, you saw it. That's what you saw, right? Because he could see the energy. He could see what was releasing. So it was at the beginning of summer school. So 3 months later, I go in there. It's like September. I'm like, how's school? I'm like, I don't know if he can still tell me. He's like, Celia, the best opening we have ever had. I'm like, there you go. Right? Because we were able to clear the school of all the stuff that made people feel uncomfortable. So it's really fascinating when that happens. And then he was able to also be part of that. Okay. All right. So who has grandchild? What? Boy. Grandchild, boy. Maybe to come. He's like literally pulling on my pants. Boy, something about horses. Like he looks like he's have a wooden horse. He's on a wooden horse. Now he presents a small boy, but it could be one of your children. But he presents a small boy, and he's like all about the pony. You know the stick. Remember we used to have a horse head and a stick. He's got a cowboy hat, and he's running around. He did pass. Oh, he passed very old. He passed like 80. So who knew an 80-year-old man that maybe you have a picture of him as a little boy with the cowboy hat and the pony stick? Because sometimes that's how they show up. They do. You know when it's the horse on that stick, and you used to like ride the stick, but it was just the. No one remembers a picture of anybody like that. Okay. Okay. So, and pretty lighthearted when he was here? Yeah. Okay, because he's like having a ball. He's running all over the place. Very lighthearted. Did he pass about that age? Like 70s, 80s? Okay. So he's fine. He's having a ball, actually. He's running around. He's really very happy. Oh, he's also like the matriarch up there. So was he like responsible for the family? Like family, I want to say family values, but that's not a word Sally Ann would use. So, okay. But did he have a family? And was he in like, was his family? If they came to him for answers or questions? Okay. So that's kind of more what it would be by like matriarch. Okay. So he's actually doing really well. Very happy. Still in heaven. And 80 is, yeah, young. You know, even young to be up there. I think it takes us a long time, like maybe like 100, 150 years to come back. If you could be gone for 80 years, 100 years, 150 years, and then you come back. So I don't know why that happens, but yes.
I have a niece
Mm-hmm.
who's been given about a month to live.
Mm.
She had recurring breast cancer that has metastasized to her brain. And she doesn't want to see anybody. Family. She wouldn't let her daughter tell her mother, which her daughter finally did. But she holds some resentment to different one of these people that if you ever looked wrong at her, we're done for the rest of your life. And so she's only seeing a few people right now. She's kind of expanded a little, but she and I weren't on the best of terms for the last couple of years. A misunderstanding, but I sent her a card that said, you know, I'm here if you need me, love you. Do you think that I should pick up the phone and try to call her?
Yes, but I think you need to do that for you, and that's you. Yeah, good one. Is her name begin with like an S or like a that sort of sound?
No, Elaine.
Elaine. What's her last name?
Well, her maiden name was Morch. Her married name was Calamini.
Maybe it's the Morch part, but I'm like, I feel like I'm getting that in my mouth. So, so yes, you should still try and call her. But again, I think you need to do that for you. So you know you've done everything you can. Depending on, oh, she's hooked up to stuff, isn't she? Oh, you don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay. I feel like she's hooked up to something. So I don't know if it's intravenous or blood or IV or whatever. But so I would still reach out to her. It's her choice. I think it depends what kind of day she's having. So she may turn you away, but she may pick up the phone. I know that sounds really wishy-washy, but it's because it's like choice. But when I look for you, you know that you did what you needed to do. So this way, when she transitions, it's not like, if only I would have called, right? Because that's the worst thing you can say to yourself. So if you're going forward to love someone, to tell them that you love them or you respect them or you honor their passing in the way that they want to do it, that's the most important thing for you, right? So not that I'm saying be selfish and don't listen to her wishes, but I think she honestly wished more people would do that, even if she hasn't talked to them in a while, even if she like push them aside.
My husband keeps saying, don't do anymore because it's gonna be you that gets hurt. Just let her see if she reaches out, but I'm not sold on it.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to reach out. Again, you reaching out to her it's kind of like, when you have people in your lives or your kids, right? And you want to tell them that you love them, but they don't want to hear it. And so you do it so this way they know. They don't have to accept it, but you know that you've reached out to her to say, I honor you, I love you. I'm sorry that there was a disagreement in that time in our lives, but I still see you. Right? And I think as humans, we want to be seen. We want to know. So I would still do it. I mean, I don't think she's going to like throw a fit or anything. But even if she does, aren't you, when she transitions?
Showed up at the hospital and she was,
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of
But her brother tried. And he knows he tried. Right? And so that's what I'm going to say is the most important thing. Because he won't have regret that he didn't show up, that he didn't try. Right? You won't have regret when she transitions to say, I tried to love her. And it's not like you have to hang a banner, right? It's not about that. It's about how you feel in here. Like, well, I tried, and okay, she couldn't accept it at this point in her time, and that's okay. But you tried, right? So it's about doing what you could that isn't harmful, right? Yes.
I dream
Oh, I'm
often
sorry.
about both
Yeah.
my parents and my little brother who passed.
Mm.
I'm having these dreams about our childhood. Does that mean there's any message, or it's just oh, how nice I get to be with them?
Yeah, I think it's just showing. So I don't know, maybe in this part, I feel like maybe there's been some moments going on recently that you need to remember that joy. You need to remember the connection and how you felt as a unit. I feel like you might be like floating a little too high and feel like you don't have connection. So I think that's why they're trying to pull you down to say, don't worry, you're connected, you're here, you still have people, right? Because I think you have people here. Granted, they've passed, but you still have those feelings and those people that loved you, right? So keep your connection. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let me just,
no, go ahead.
yes, honey.
Could you define transition? Is that body or soul? Thinking people that are cremated. Does that make any difference?
So how I think of transition is when you are leaving Earth. Now, sometimes transition happens before you actually die. Your body stops. Especially, so my father had Lewy body dementia. So some days I'd show up and my dad's like, hey, Sally Ann, let's go water skiing, right? And sometimes he wasn't really there. And a lot of times I think as people get older that we love, they're transitioning. I always say, if you notice someone is really like a lot of daydreaming, they're just spending more time in heaven. They're finding their place to where they're going to go. And so sometimes it's, a golf course. Sometimes it's an auto body shop. Like my dad, I'm like, really? You're hanging out at the gas station. So I'm like, really? You're hanging out at the gas station? And sometimes I'd go there and I'd be like, oh, that's funny. He's hanging out on the boat. So that's part of that transition. It's part of that spiritual release, even though he wanted to hang on. It's part of that spiritual release to go. And yeah, it's just really interesting. So my father went from a 280-pound man down to 150 pounds. And the day he left, he should have left months before. And the day he left, I was like, okay, look, Dad, it's time. Like, I'm okay. It's okay. You can go. Mom's okay. I'll take care of her. The boys are okay. I went through the things that I knew that bothered him. And that day we had full conversations. This man that, some days he couldn't even say 5 words. So we had a full conversation, and he transitioned that night. Laying next to my mother, which is all he wanted. I was like, Mom, you have to spend the night. You have to hold his hand. That's all he wants. And she's like, I know. That's why I haven't been doing it, because she didn't want him to leave. So when she was ready, she told him to. She said, it's okay, Joe. You can go. I'll be all right. And he did. That's when he left us. It was more than time. So sometimes you'll notice when people daydream a lot, when they spend a lot of time daydreaming, they're actually spiritually transitioning. And then really your human form, it is just what I believe, and you get choice. But once spirit is gone, you are just human form. So yes, do I have my father's fingerprint? Absolutely. And he did want to be buried. My mother's all about like cremate me. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm going to plant you under a tree. And she's really happy with that. And she wants to be sprinkled at Tiffany's and on the Empire State Building and on Broadway. I'm like, I will break the law for you. Yes, I will do that. So yes, you honor this, right? Like we honor this through our whole life. We take care of this through our whole life. But it is meant to release us in my world. Sorry, did you have a question?
No, I just, between like ghosts and angels, or, some people maybe call them ghosts, but in your, it's like they're angels. Is there, they both exist, or is it kind of the same thing? Or?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I don't think I've ever actually thought of it that way, but I think like ghosts are probably those that are earthbound, that are stuck here. Because we feel them, right? And they love to mess with houses. I'm like, oh, here we go. You got a 17-year-old boy jumping around. Oh, you're always circling, right? You're always buffering. Your computers are always doing this. And people are like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I got it. Okay, let me help them go. Right? So because they sometimes make themselves known, or that vibration changes in earth. So I really call them all spirit, but I guess if we had those 2 categories, I'd probably call a ghost someone that's earthbound, and spirit more of someone that has fully transitioned. Right? Because ghosts feel uncomfortable. Like it's a word that makes us feel uncomfortable sometimes. So I like these guys that are here. I know they're here, but like, I'm okay with it, right? Yeah.
Have you ever had a spirit like there's more than Earth, like Mars, or I don't know, places?
Yeah. I actually do it all the time. So me as a human, I don't tell a lot of people this. All right, so now cat's out of the bag. They call it astroplaning sometimes. And so I see colors. So I go to planets that are purple and green. Those are the 2 main ones that I go to. And yeah, sometimes I get messages, and or it's just where I feel comfortable. But yeah.
Energy can go somewhere else.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think these different dimensions are. It kind of looks like Donkey Kong. They're like all over here. Heck, my husband, I've been married for, 36 years. And I'm like, oh, you're over here and I'm over here. I get it. We're on different planes. Like we communicate differently, but he's still earthbound. He just doesn't know he's over here. I just get to hop around. So, but yes, there are people that like they call star children, or gosh, I met this one person so interesting, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you're an alien," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, I get it." Right. So sometimes people use that terminology for people that their vibration is different when they're brought in. Oh, yeah. Good questions. Anything else?
So, well, what is your business plan? How do we continue working?
Oh, thank you for that. So I should do that, right? That's why I'm here.
We thought you never.
It's so funny because such a big marketer my whole life, and then I don't always do it for this. So I do private and group angel readings. I can do it over the phone or in my healing space, which is just an anthem. So I'm only 30 minutes away. I have a dedicated space up there. But we can do it on the phone. I have group Reiki classes, or I have individual Reiki, again, in the healing space. And then we have a conversation. We talk about like kind of like what ails you. And then I can key in and look at your chakra system, and we can go in and clear that specific space. I have angel cards that they helped me write. So this way you guys can get messages every day. Because part of, I'm like, how do I reach 5 million people? Well, could never see one-on-ones for 5 million people. I do have clients all over the world. So I do a lot of phone work with Reiki and also with angel, I call it angel time. So
Virtually or just talking on the phone?
we can do like a YouTube or a FaceTime or on the phone or in person. So all of those are options. I know that what we decided to gift you on this, and if you've taken notes, you probably saw some of this on the side. So if you want to make an appointment because you're here, and this is like our 3rd year with the Holland Center, I want to gift you guys $50 off a private reading or Reiki. So it can be virtually or in person. It's just kind of for you guys. Please don't share this with everyone that you know and love. You can buy a gift card with it too, I would think, if you wanted to. It's the code is Angel. So if you buy it on the website, you can. And then I think, is this bring to events?
That one brings two events, the one on the back brings two, or that's.
No, Google review.
Yeah.
So also, if you liked this and you want more of these type of things, please give me a 5-star Google review, or whatever you want. But a Google review right there. We actually just won Best in Phoenix for holistic healer, and a lot of that came through like the algorithm on Google. It's about the consistency of what people say. So it's really, you can't buy it. It's not a vote. It's just like that authentic information. So this really does make a big difference.
So what is an hour of healing? I met with you. Do I get $50 off? What?
$175.
And that's for per hour, and then
Yes.
we get 50 off of that.
Yes. Okay, and that's for
And
Reiki.
worth every penny. Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, Sally Ann worked on my son, who was virtually unconscious before, and definitely improvement. And did he know anything was, no, it's me, don't know what the hell she's doing, but you know what, it was fantastic.
The Reiki, that energy work is really, yeah, I appreciate that. It really is miraculous. I mean, and not to be too gooey, but there are days when I get so choked up that this is what I get to do. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. And so, after that 13 times, I realized, I was like, and I say this, I know it's a little crass, but he knows I love him. But I literally say, God kicked my ass. It's like, I'm tired of waiting. I've been waiting 10 years for you to do this. And even when I talk to my girls, my college girls, there's 10 of us, they were all like, it's about, I said, okay, I think I'm going to do this. And they're like, it's about time. So I really do believe like this is just what I'm supposed to do. So I'm honored that I get to do it. And it's miraculous. Like the stories that people tell me or write about really is amazing. So yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being here. Really, I appreciate you. Yeah, thank you. Honored, honored. So if you have any questions, if you want to book appointments, Colleen can book you on the phone or on the tablet. So if you have any other questions, I'm right here for you. Okay. And then I hope I see you next month. Or we're doing the coolest thing in October. I have to tell you guys.